You were taught that if you work harder than everyone else, life will eventually reward you. That if you stay disciplined, obedient, exhausted, the system will notice. It won't. And the reason this truth feels uncomfortable is because your entire identity has been built around effort, around sacrifice, around proving your worth through struggle. But here's the first crack in the illusion. Hard work was never designed to make you wealthy. It was designed to keep you useful. From the moment you were young, you were conditioned to admire the worker, not the winner. To respect the man who wakes up early, not the one who controls the schedule. To praise effort, not leverage. That programming wasn't accidental. It was strategic, because the system collapses without people who believe that exhaustion equals virtue. People who trade time for money and call it stability. People who confuse movement with progress. Look closely and you'll see it everywhere. The hardest working people you know are not the richest. They're the most replaceable. And the people who truly win, they rarely look busy. They look calm, detached, almost bored. That's because power doesn't come from doing more. It comes from positioning yourself so others do it for you. The dangerous part is this. The system doesn't need to lie to you. It just needs to tell you half the truth. Yes, effort matters, but only after leverage is in place. Without leverage, effort is just slow self-destruction. Most people never figure this out because they're trapped in survival mode. Bills, pressure, expectations. So they cling to the one thing they were told would save them. Work harder. And every year they do, the ceiling stays exactly where it is. Meanwhile, a small group plays a completely different game. They don't ask, how much effort does this take? They ask, how many people does this affect? How many times does this scale? How many layers can I remove between me and the outcome? That shift, that single mental pivot, is what separates the exhausted from the untouchable. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because the real divide in this world isn't between lazy and hardworking. It's between those who sell time and those who design systems. They never explain this part clearly, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Hard work was never designed to make you rich. It was designed to make you reliable, predictable, easy to schedule, easy to replace. The system doesn't reward effort. It rewards positioning. And the moment you understand that, your relationship with work changes forever. Look closely at who actually wins. It's not the person who stays late. It's not the one who sacrifices weekends. Those people are useful, but usefulness is not power. Power belongs to the ones who control timing, leverage, and attention. While you're trading hours for approval, someone else is structuring outcomes so other people's hours work for them. Quietly, legally, efficiently. This is why hard workers are praised, but rarely promoted. Praise is cheap. It keeps you loyal. It keeps you calm. It keeps you running in place. The system gives you just enough validation to stop you from asking dangerous questions. Questions like, who benefits from my discipline? Who profits from my consistency? And why does my income cap exist at all? Notice how early this programming starts. Be a good student. Follow the rules. Don't question authority. Work hard and you'll be rewarded. That last part is the lie that keeps millions compliant. Because effort without leverage only deepens dependence. You become proud of how much you can endure instead of how much you control. The people at the top aren't grinding harder than you. They're thinking colder. They detach emotion from labor. They don't ask, how much can I do? They ask, where does effort compound? That single shift separates exhaustion from dominance. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The system doesn't need you wealthy. It needs you busy. Busy people don't rebel. Busy people don't redesign their lives. Busy people mistake motion for progress and call it ambition. Once you see that, something inside you tightens. Because now you understand why motivation alone never worked. Why discipline felt empty. Why, no matter how much you gave, it was never enough. You weren't failing. You were playing the wrong role. In the next part, I'll show you the exact psychological mechanism that keeps smart, capable people trapped in effort, while others quietly step outside the game entirely. They trained you to believe effort equals value, but effort is invisible in rooms where power is decided. No one at the top is asking how hard you tried. They're asking how little you needed to move to make others move for you. This is where the illusion breaks. Hard work is a currency that only circulates at the bottom. At the top, leverage replaces labor. Distance replaces struggle. Silence replaces explanation. Watch carefully how the winners operate. They don't rush. They don't overperform. They don't prove. They position. While you're exhausting yourself being useful, they're becoming unavoidable. You were taught to earn approval through output. They learned to create dependence through control. That's the real gap no one explains. This is why the hardest workers are always the most replaceable. When your value comes from how much you do, removing you only requires finding someone younger, hungrier, cheaper. But when your value comes from what you decide, what you allow, what you withhold, replacing you becomes dangerous. Systems don't fear workers, they fear decision makers. And here's the part that stings. Most people could stop being broke tomorrow if they stopped overgiving today. But they won't. Because overgiving feels moral. It feels safe. It feels like progress. You stay busy so you don't have to face the truth. That effort without leverage is just a slow way to stay poor. Look at how you were conditioned to speak. You explain. You justify. You soften your edges so others feel comfortable. Meanwhile, the ones who win speak less and are listened to more. Not because they're louder, because they trained people to wait on them. Attention bends toward scarcity. Power lives where access is limited. Hard work keeps you broke because it keeps you visible in the wrong way. Always present, always available, always trying. The people who rise learn when to disappear. They let silence create tension. They let absence raise value. They let others feel the gap and fill it with respect. This is the shift most never make. They work harder when results stall instead of changing the rules of the game. They push when they should pull back. They give when they should pause. And every time they do, the system tightens around them, smiling, encouraging, applauding their dedication while quietly locking the ceiling in place. By now, you should feel it. That subtle discomfort. That sense that something you were promised never existed. Good. That feeling is the doorway. Because once you see that hard work was never meant to free you, you stop worshipping it. And when you stop worshipping it, you finally become dangerous. By now, you've probably noticed something unsettling. The people who preach hard work the loudest are rarely the ones winning. They're usually exhausted, replaceable, and quietly resentful. That's not an accident. That's conditioning. The system doesn't reward effort, it rewards leverage. And leverage comes from positioning, not perspiration. Think about this carefully. Two people can work the same 12 hours. One trades time for money. The other builds something that keeps paying when they stop showing up. Same hours, opposite outcomes. One stays trapped, the other escapes. Hard work is pushed as a virtue because it keeps you busy. And busy people don't question the rules. When you're tired, you obey. When you're stressed, you comply. When you're constantly chasing the next paycheck, you don't have the mental space to see who's actually pulling the strings. That's the real function of hard work culture. It drains your awareness. Notice who isn't told to just work harder. Owners, strategists, people who understand systems. They're taught to think in moves, not minutes. They study human behavior, incentives, pressure points. They don't ask, how much effort does this take? They ask, Where does control come from? And here's the part most people never hear. Hard work is useful only at the beginning. It's a tool, not a lifestyle. You use it to acquire skills, insight, and positioning. The moment hard work becomes your identity, you've already lost, because the market doesn't care how tired you are. It cares how difficult you are to replace. The winners understand this early. They stop trying to impress with effort and start designing outcomes. They build asymmetry. One action creates 10 results. One decision compounds instead of resets. That's why some people seem to move quietly and then suddenly separate from the pack. Nothing magical happened. They just stopped bleeding energy into places that couldn't return power. If you're still measuring your value by how much you suffer, you're playing the game exactly as it was designed for you to play. And the people who really win, they're not working harder than you. They're working on the rules you're still following. You begin to notice something uncomfortable once your eyes adjust. The people who rise fastest are rarely the most exhausted. They're the most detached. They don't argue, they don't complain, they don't explain themselves. They observe patterns while others burn calories trying to prove effort. Power doesn't respond to sweat. It responds to positioning. Look closely and you'll see the real exchange happening beneath the surface. Attention is currency. Time is leverage. Perception is the weapon. The system rewards those who understand this early and punishes those who romanticize struggle. Hard work keeps you busy. Strategy keeps you dangerous. The reason this feels unfair is because you were conditioned to believe fairness mattered. It doesn't. Outcomes matter. Influence matters. Control over options matters. And the people who win know when to apply effort and when to withhold it. They move only when the return justifies the exposure. Everyone else moves constantly and wonders why nothing changes. This is why obedience is disguised as virtue. Be patient. Stay humble. Your time will come. These phrases aren't advice. They're restraints. They keep you docile while others extract value from your predictability. A man who always works hard is easy to place. A man who chooses when to work is impossible to trap. At some point, you face a quiet decision. Continue being reliable or become selective. Continue proving effort or start engineering outcomes. The moment you stop advertising how hard you're trying, people start paying attention to what you actually control. Silence recalibrates power. This is where most people hesitate. Because stepping back feels like laziness. It feels risky. It feels like rebellion against everything you were taught. But restraint isn't weakness. It's compression. And compressed force is what breaks systems. Those who really win don't rush. They let others expose themselves through overwork, over-explaining, over-committing. Then they move once. Clean, precise, irreversible. That single move erases years of someone else's effort. By now, you should feel the shift. Less urgency, more clarity. You're no longer asking how to work harder. You're asking where effort actually converts into power. And once you ask that question, you're no longer playing the same game. They never tell you the final truth, because this is where the illusion fully collapses. Hard work doesn't fail by accident. It fails by design. It keeps you obedient, predictable, and exhausted. When you are tired, you don't question. When you are busy, you don't see patterns. When you are struggling, you accept explanations instead of searching for leverage. The people who truly win understand one brutal rule: effort is cheap, positioning is everything. They don't trade hours for money. They trade decisions for outcomes. They don't ask, how hard should I work? They ask, where should I stand so that every move multiplies? Power comes from structure, not sweat. Notice who advances fastest. It's rarely the most disciplined worker. It's the one closest to information, influence, and timing. The one who controls narratives. The one who understands incentives and quietly aligns themselves with them. Hard work is praised because it keeps you inside the system. Strategic thinking is discouraged because it lets you escape it. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. You stop trying to impress people with effort. You stop explaining yourself. You start observing silently. You listen more than you speak. You choose moves that look small but compound aggressively over time. This is the shift. The moment you stop chasing validation through labor and start building quiet leverage. From the outside, it looks like you're doing less. In reality, every move you make now matters more. And that's why the ones who truly win are never the most tired people in the room. They're the calmest, the most patient, the least reactive, because they understood one thing early. Hard work is a tool. Control is the strategy.